Hello. I already did this once, but I guess it wasn't there, and I don't remember what I said fully, and I know it was way better than this will be, but I'm also not gonna sign, so because I have no clue how I would sign certain things like autism or like barriers or I know. Okay, never mind. Sorry, I just don't know how to sign certain things, so I'm not gonna do that. But uh, my overall experience with Def 101, I'd say very positive. I didn't have any issues with anything. Everything was very like I could do it all, and it was not hard at all for me to go through it, and it was fun. Some points of it was fun. I liked learning about the personal experiences that people had. That was really cool, even though the things that I went through weren't cool. Um, I liked learning about autism because that's something that you don't really think about when you don't have that issue. Like you don't have the issue where people discriminate off of your hearing because we are hearing people. We can hear. And we don't really have that discrimination, I would guess. So like hearing about how somebody got declined because a job because they couldn't hear, but they like are way better than this like other hearing guy, but they are more experienced with the job. They have like everything written down. They have like a master's degree or something like that. But this guy gets the job because he has ears, and like they have ears, but he can hear out of them. Like that's yeah. I the articles weren't long. The videos were fun. I preferred the articles, I think, over the videos, but I enjoyed it, and the tests weren't bad at all. Like it, some of them were hard to remember, like the laws, the names of the laws. I think it's just like memorizing. It's just hard, but yeah, overall it was very positive, and I loved the discussion boards that we did. I thought that was very fun. We get to share our experiences and talk with others and see everybody else's opinion on this stuff. Um, yeah, I have no clue what I said in my other video. I said a lot more than what I am here. Um, I reached on autism, which I think was the biggest thing. Oh, cochlear implants. I learned a lot about that as well because I had no clue. We got to experience what it sounds like what it could sound like for them. And I think that was really cool because it was terrifying to me. Like hearing that, I it's so much different than I thought it would be. And I thought that was really cool to see and to hear about. Because I had no clue. Miss Sinsky explained cochlear implants, but I wasn't really like understanding that much of it. But now I understand a lot about that. So yeah, overall positive, and I liked it. Thank you.
I learned a lot about deaf people and their culture throughout the Deaf 101 assignment. I would definitely recommend Deaf 101 to somebody who doesn't know a lot about deafness or is just looking to learn about something. Um, I also found it interesting watching like how they go about their daily lives and like the things that they deal with that we don't even really think about. And I also didn't know that there were so many like rules and like laws that could actually be applied like in a courthouse, like things that are illegal about deafness and like what's allowed and what's not, like captions and things like that. So yeah, I found that pretty interesting. And yeah, in conclusion, I would definitely recommend it. Also, oh, it's going. Miss Sinsky, look at this.
Oh,
Show Lucy, show Lucy, show Lucy. Show
down.
Lucy.
I can't pick her up. Hey.
Lucy. Okay. Bye, Miss Sinsky.
My name is Hannah, and I finished both modules of Def 101. In doing Def 101, I learned about the different aspects of deaf culture and the causes and dangers of autism. I would recommend Def 101 to everyone, so that way deaf culture can be more widely accepted and understood.
Things like and overall just a lot about the deaf community. I learned about how work and even family can mistreat people in the deaf community. It's horrible, but something that's good to learn about. And Def 101 really helped us learn about those things. We also learned about actual stories from people in the deaf community, and it really helped. At least for me, it really helped me understand and relate to those people in the community and understand the struggles that they have to go through just because they can't hear, and the things that they are, assumptions that are made about them, and the things that they are and aren't allowed to do, even though they might be able to do it just regularly, just as everyone else. Deaf people can do everything a hearing person can do except hear. That's the only thing that they can't do.
Well, for me, when I first started the Def 101 training, at first, I didn't think it was going to be like much different than what we've gone over in class, but it actually really opened my eyes to what deaf culture can really be like. And I was like, and with the videos that we watched and like personal experiences from people, it was really a great experience.
In Deaf 101, I learned many things, such as ways of discrimination towards deaf people, technology used to help hearing and deaf communicate, and ways to not be disrespectful towards a deaf individual. Discrimination against deaf people is called autism. This section included different laws that can help in a lawsuit against a business who is discriminating against a deaf individual, such as an employee or an everyday deaf person who gets told they can't do anything just because they can't hear. I also learned about different technology that can be used to communicate with a deaf person, such as a real time text and captions. The course also went over things that could be considered disrespectful towards a deaf individual. For example, asking someone who is deaf, "Can you drive even though you can't hear?" is very rude. Overall, this course gave me a better insight on deaf life in a whole, and plus, you get a really cool certificate at the end.
What I learned in Def 101, I learned more about autism and more about what deaf people go through on a daily basis, because when you hear someone's deaf or meet someone that's deaf, you don't really stand there or sit there and think about what they really go through on a daily basis, because their world is very different from our world and vice versa, and they encounter a lot of things with hearing people that really don't have that deaf knowledge of their culture, and hearing people that don't really know about deaf people. They don't think about how certain things can hurt them, and we don't realize that. And like I said, I just learned about more and what they counter in life on a daily basis, and I think that's about it.
Autism is a form of discrimination against people who are deaf and the actions they take in order to communicate. What contributes to autism can be seen in many different ways. For example, refusing to sign in the presence of a sign language dependent person. It is sad to see how we don't realize how deaf people feel in situations when they are left out. It is also very sad to see how some people view deafness as a disease, when in fact it is the opposite and something deaf people are grateful to be a part of. I am really glad I got this opportunity to learn more about autism and deafness in general, because there is so much that we don't know and it is all very eye-opening.
Hi, Zinsky. So overall, in the project, I've learned with the learning about autism and types of discrimination that deaf people face, which there's, instead of just calling it discrimination, there's a full other category for it, autism. And I've learned that that's a real thing and how crazy it is and how actually real and true to everyday life it is. And then the one thing that surprised me the most about this project was the cochlear implants. And they're such a like widely pushed thing on deaf people, even if they didn't want to. And listening to how they actually work, it was very interesting because they didn't actually work. They It was horrible. I'd rather be deaf than have to listen to that my entire life. And that's doesn't come with the amount of technology they have to put inside of you and all the chemicals and the radiation and just everything that you're exposed to just because you don't have hearing, which isn't a big deal. Because especially in this day and age, we've learned to make arrangements, and there's a whole community for people who don't know how to hear, or sorry, who can't hear, and a lot of them choose not to. A lot of people have a deafness that can be corrected, but some people just don't want to. It's living in your tradition, in your culture, and it's like being born in a Spanish family. Like they have their customs and their traditions. Some people decide that they don't like that, and other people, that's their life, and that's something that they love and they're very passionate about, and they found a whole other realm of people to share it with. And then I really think that hearing people should be more of an advocate for deaf people and should be more involved in the deaf community. It's very hard for them just in general, and to have somebody that that you understand, that understands you and possibly help you, and somebody that's truly interested in your culture and your customs and things that you do and your language, especially for sign language, which isn't such a big thing with hearing people. You have interpreters and people who are deaf, and then people who are brought into this world with a deaf person. It's, and if I was deaf and some hearing person came up and wanted to talk to me and learn my language and my traditions, I would love that.
Okay, so I learned about the discrimination of deaf people in today's society and about the laws that helped deaf people, sorry, deaf people be treated the same as hearing people.